students, everyone. So in today's class, we are going to study about the distillation. So distillation is one of the important topic in case of a unit operations. So coming to the distillation, as you can see this diagrammatic picture, okay, so which is somewhat of an animated one. So what is basically a distillation? Distillation is nothing but it is a process of separation. For example, you have 2 to 3 liquid mixtures, acetone and water, turpentine and water. So if you have any liquid mixtures, so if you want to separate that liquid mixtures into the acetone separately, into the water separately, or turpentine separately and water separately, okay. So basically distillation is nothing but it is one of the separation technique which will be used to separate any liquid mixtures, okay. So how we are going to separate the liquid mixtures? By using the vaporization technique as well as by using the condensation technique, okay. So for example, whatever the feed is there, you load all your feed material, mixture of a liquid mixtures into this feed material, okay. Next, as soon as you supply a heat or a steam, what different modes of a heat will be supplied. Either you will be subjecting to the direct heating, or you will be applying a vacuum, or you will be applying a steam. So what will happen? This liquid mixture, what will happen? They will be converted into the vapor, which is known as a vaporization process. Later on, these vapors will enter into the condenser, which will be condensed, and further the distillate or the product will be collected in the receiver. So here you have to read about you have to get familiarized about the two processes. One is vaporization and another one is the condensation. Okay. So basically what is a distillation? Distillation is the separation technique. Okay, so separation of a liquid mixtures into the individual components will be achieved by using the vaporization process as well as the condensation process. So what is the meaning of a vaporization? You are converting the liquid to vapor. Okay, next, what is a condensation? Again, the vapor is converted into the liquid form, okay. So here the liquid will be converted into the vapor either by means of a direct heating, or you will be supplying a steam, or you will be supplying a vacuum, okay. So by this different means of a heat supply, ultimately the liquid will be converted into the vapor, which is known as a vaporization, and afterwards this vapor, whatever it has been formed, it will reach to the condenser where the vapor will be again returned into the liquid form. Again they will be separated into the individual components. So basically distillation is one of the separation technique which will be used to separate the liquid mixture by using the two processes. What are those two processes? Vaporization as well as the condensation. So what is the meaning of vaporization? Liquid will be converted into the vapor either by the direct heat, steam, or the vacuum. Next, later on the vapor will be converted into the liquid by condensation process. So here in each equipment we have a condenser as well as the heat source. Next, one more point, as I have told you, in vaporization process the liquid will be converted into the vapor either by the direct heat or a steam supply or the vacuum supply. But the liquid will be converted into the vapor only when the liquid vapor pressure will be equivalent to the atmospheric pressure. So when this liquid pressure, whatever the liquid components you are using, if this liquid pressure will be equivalent to the atmospheric pressure, then only the liquid will start boiling, and during this boiling process what will happen? Collision of the molecules will occur. Okay, so what you are doing, you are supplying a heat. When you supply heat, what will happen? The liquid molecules will catch a heat. So they will have a more heat. So they want to escape from that source. Okay, so during that escaping process, they may get collide with each other, and ultimately they get converted into the vapor. So you have to remember this, because all this will be the principle which will be commonly employed in all types of distillation process. For that sake, I am explaining in detail in the starting slide only. Okay, so distillation is a separation technique which is used to separate the liquid components. If you are taking any blend of the components, it can be separated into the individual components by using a vaporization technique as well as a condensation technique. So the vaporization process will be achieved when the liquid boiling point will be equivalent, or the vapor pressure will be equivalent to the atmospheric pressure. Okay, so during this boiling process, what will happen? As I have told you, the molecules will undergo collision due to the heat. They try to escape from the environment. Okay, and ultimately they get converted into the vapor. So coming to the distillation, almost we have some 3 to 4 definitions you can study in detail. Now coming to the first definition, basically the distillation process is a unit operation technique. Okay, so it involves the separation of a vaporizable component from a multi-component system and subsequent condensation of a vapor. So here you can see, so what you're doing, you're taking a multi-component system. So to the multi-component system, you are using a separation technique, okay, by vaporization as well as by condensation. So this is a one definition. Now coming to the second definition, it is a process of separating the component substances from the liquid mixture by selective evaporation technique and condensation technique. Evaporation or vaporization is the same. Next, third one, distillation is defined as the separation of a components of a liquid mixture by a process involving the vaporization and subsequent condensation. So if you see all this one, if you combine it into a single definition, it is a process of separation technique of a mixture of a components into the individual components by employing a vaporization process as well as condensation process. Now coming to the applications, in which cases we employ or we use the distillation process. So coming to the first one, separation of volatile oils. Okay, so here they have given a clove. Okay, coming to the clove, in clove it contains a volatile oil which is known as eugenol. So if you want to extract this eugenol oil from the clove buds, then you can employ the distillation technique. Now coming to the second application, separation of drugs, okay, obtained from the plant and animal sources. So example, here they have given vitamin A from the fish liver oil. So if you want to extract the vitamin A, then from the animal source they are extracting here fish liver oil. Next, purification of the organic solvent such as absolute alcohol. So if you want to get the 100%, coming to the alcohol you will get a 95%, 100%. So if you want to obtain 100% of absolute alcohol, so in purification process, apart from the separation, it also gives the pure compounds also. So that is a third application. Next, coming to the fourth one, purification of drugs obtained from the chemical process. So if you want to isolate any drug, okay, if you have employed the chemical process, during the chemical process some impurities will also come. So if you want to purify the component, then you can opt for the distillation technique. Next, manufacture of official preparations. So if you want to prepare any official preparations as per the IP, BP or something, then you can also use the distillation technique. So example is the spirit of a nitrous ether, official preparation example. Next, spirit of ammonia, second example, distilled water and water for injection. So in order to prepare for ophthalmic preparations, for parenteral preparations, we need a sterile water. So for such cases also you can use one of the technique of distillation. There are many types of a distillation. So one technique will have a one use. Next, in a quality control methods also it can be used. So example, if you want to determine the alcohol content in the elixir, coming to the elixir, it is one of the dosage form, liquid dosage form, which is an hydroalcoholic preparations. If you see the definition of the elixir only, it is a hydroalcoholic, means it contains elixir, it contains alcohol as well as water, but alcohol content will be more. If you see, they have indicated 40% of the alcohol will be present in this elixir. Okay, so if you want to identify, if you want to measure the alcohol, how much percentage of alcohol is present in elixir, then you can also use the distillation technique. Next, refining of a petroleum products, okay, such as a petroleum ether 60 and 80. Next, recovery of the solvent synthesis. For example, if you have kept one extraction process, again if you want to recover that solvent as stone or whatever you have used it, ethanol, if you want to recover the solvent, then again you can use the distillation process. So if you have seen, many applications are there for the distillation. It is basically a separation technique. Apart from separation, it also one of the purification technique.